Well, if I say good things about the wines, they're gonna come here.
So this is it. This is where we do our thing.
How did you take this from down?
Well, it's a nightmare. It really was. This was a logistic
Of course.
puzzle, and it entailed a tractor coming up here, then bringing out here with wheels. I mean, we worked, well, we work very much with, especially when you bring in the grape and the fermentation. That's the moment. That's the key moment where you want everything
Clean
to be
grapes,
clean
clean
grape.
wines.
Exactly. Once you've got everything clean and sano, not going to say sane, then once you keep it in barrels or in amphoras or whatever, and we work with very little sulfites, so really it's just the idea is to keep the wine as natural as possible, minimum intervention. That's the idea of this project as well. As we use our grape, we select we pick and we select here before we take the grape. So there's a bit of a control before we pass the grape through to start fermenting. And then the process is very simple. I mean, depending where we want to take our wine, we do whole bunches or we take the stem, and then we just put it on different deposits. And depending, our style of wine, we don't over macerate, so we don't over extract. So all the process of what's called barrigueo, punching. It's very punching down. It's just a process of just keeping the hat sort of nice and humid. So you're just trying to make it as clean and as natural as possible. And that's the idea of this project. And as we deal with small quantities, literally, I mean, we do like from, depending on the year, it could be 5 to 10,000. So it's always very workable in that sense. So we always do a pre fermentation, and with that we can use to inoculate other deposits, and that way we can accelerate fermentations, which is interesting as well, to do quick fermentations. And once we do that, we keep the skin contact pretty much to a minimum. I mean, not you keep on tasting until we find it right, and then press, and then just there it is. It's aging. There it goes. Las Pampudas is because we use amphoras for all our wines in the fermentation process. But Las Pampudas, we actually decided, and the name of Las Pampudas is in Spanish is a belly. That's just like, instead of what you call it wine, I just thought the shape of the amphora is actually called La Pampuda. So the idea of that was to make a sort of yearly wine, because we wanted to, when we fermenting, when you're like sort of in December, January, so you've had it like 2 or 3 months already in the...
Say,
couple of months, in the amphora, and then you just open the tap and try it, and you think, this is what I want to bottle now. This is sort of, it has an immediacy that we thought it was really attractive as a sort of different wine. So we make 4 wines and 2 monovarietals, and then we make Más Habanero, which is a Garnacha and a Cariñena, and then we have the Pampudas, which is 100% Garnacha as well. So it's all our vineyard is Garnacha and Cariñena. So it's basically our wine.
No whites.
We're not yet. This year, actually, after the harvest, we are thinking of, there's a part that we suffered a lot the last 3 years, some old Garnacha peludas we had. So we're going to be uprooting those, and it's a chance to we have 2 terraces that we're going to plant whites. And start with whites, because the tendency in the world is for whites.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously,
freshness
in general. Exactly. But Luca loves making whites. So of course he makes whites in Chile, but here he does them with Ataros, and he does with, but not. So we thought, okay, we'll do a little whites. Yeah. This is. This is like this is our barrel room, as you can see. This is where we keep our wines, where we age our wines. A whole different story. This is basically, this was like this like structure that you see here. This was like open. There's no roof, and this has been here for years. And we always joke that we'll make this our family swimming pool, because it has this structure. But actually, we don't know what it was, because we do know that this house that you actually see was constructed on top of another house. We don't know actually what it was, because there's no papers or any historical sort of document that tells us what it was. So we don't know if it was an old distillery, if it was just an old house. Somehow it got blown up. We don't know. Before the Civil War, it's nothing to do with the Civil War. It's way before. But we've been finding like all these subterranean, tunnels and stuff. We think crazy. Water, wine, and actually back in the day when Priorato was Scala Day, and it was all everything was grape. It was one of the biggest wine producers, of this area. And of course, people from the village would spend like a month in the harvest up there, because it was just like grape, and there's obviously mules and walking. There was no more else, and so basically they start fermenting the wine up in the hills, in these vats, like these rectangles, and then throw the grape in, and they start fermenting, and then from then they'd take it in amphoras and take it to the village, and from the village they take it down to Reus, and so it'd be a whole long process, of which they call truis in Catalan, trui. The trui is the rectangular outdoor thing. And then they had the coupes, which are interior things. And that's that. And that, my dad...
Can we go?
Yeah, you can go. Okay. Wait, is there a light in there? It should be a light, wait. I explained, my dad opened this. So this is a coupe. And in theory, like here you see the chimney. This is like a chimney where they throw the liquid into this place. And this is where they'd keep the wine. But
you really want to hide the key for this one.
Yeah, but this is our sort of life story. 215. We start in 215 with Masa Lavanero. 216, and we have a 217, and we slowly bring in different wines. Why not start with Las Panfudas, which is the amphora you saw, literally, 223. And this is amphora Garnacha, 100%, no added sulfites. And it's the first Garnacha that actually ripens. In this case, 223, it was almost the third week of August, mid-August. Crazy for the Priorato. So
for the week of August.
Yeah, this is
23. You said.
Is it 23?
Yeah.
It is 23. Yeah.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, Casper, for having us. Cheers.
Hey, this was our keep. And very.
Hope you enjoy it.
I will. I'll let you know when I taste it with my brother. I'll keep it in a hidden place so my son doesn't get it. El Oliver, que ahora que está de sommelier, my son's in Madrid studying to be a sommelier.
Oh, nice.
Oliver, I met him.
You met him in Chile.
In Chile, Hacienda San Juan.
So now it's like you have to hide things from him. Otherwise, you just let's try this. No, wait.
Now it's taste.
No, but any criticism on the wine, I'm sure I'd pass it along to Diego, because Diego and I, one of the reasons why we became such good friends, which is the same with Alessio, is that we're always honest about the wine, always. So he wants to hear I think there's this, I think there's that. So anything you have to say about the wine,
but likewise,
I'll pass it along.
I'll pass anything.
I'm quickly arriving there with you.
Yeah.
I'll definitely. My brother, I don't criticize wines really, because, as I say, I'm not really at that level. But my brother will. So I think that's why I'll open it with my brother, because he'll be, as a winemaker himself, and he's not, look at that way, he's not very critical either. He's always very sort of respectful. And
but I think that yes, mostly all the time there is this problem, everybody thinks that saying something is like a lack of respect, but it's not, like when I give him the wines in Hacienda, it's like, man, of course I think it is a good wine because I'm making it, but tell me if you don't tell me anything, I never can become better, Yeah, Luca is always very polite.
He's polite,
Yeah, very polite.
Vamos a next. Are you
go.
good? Yeah. So now we will go to the book insignia, the flagship of the project. Mas del Habanero is a strange name because habanero is like in Spain they had all the Indianos that went to the Indies to make their money and come back to Spain, and they made these houses. If you go along the north coast of Cantabria, up in the north, they have these beautiful houses, and it's all these people that can travel back with the riches that they probably exfoliated from Cuba and stuff. So el habanero was the guy that probably came from Havana, and he probably arrived with his village with his cigar and the habanero. And that's the mas, the house of the habanero.
Okay.
Some people think it's the chili, but it's not a chili. It's the person, whoever it was. So this is 80% garnacha, 20% cariñena. This is the fermentations are all the deposits you saw, basically amphoras, cement, and the food and even wood. We use the wood to ferment, and this is kept 18 months in the French oak, used French oak, the barrels that you saw. And I've just discovered this because I mean, for me, everything is new always. So I was like, I see that plants are super intelligent, and when they suddenly decide, hey, nah, I'm not going to be producing much grape this year, and it's like that. And then the following year, there's plentiful. So I think that's a lot to do with that. Yeah. And I think also, in a way, for us, we don't have that pressure that bigger wineries need to produce 300,000 bottles a year otherwise. It doesn't matter if we don't produce, or if we produce little or produce. So we have that in our advantage.
Where are you selling more now, Casper?
Where countries?
I think you're.
Well, we're exporting more or less all over Europe. We've got the UK. We've got a good guy, Le Cave de Pirenne, which are good guys there. Yeah. They're sort of the oldest natural wine distributors. So the whole cellar is very young, the actual cellar, because when we started making our wine, we were doing it in Buil, Igine, the others in the cellar. So we had our barrels there and our amphoras there, and that's before when we started in 2015 our project, was basically we didn't have a cellar, so we just thought we did the wine, and then we'll see where it will take us from. And then as the wine turned out to be pretty all right, then then we started because of course the story, I don't know if you know the story, but this is like a family project. So my dad bought this house in 1972.
Okay.
So like way before the Priorato was what it's become or what it is today. My dad was like 31, architect living in Barcelona. Flared jeans, very hippie, long hair, and he came here and he fell in love with this part of the world, and he found this house, and with the help of his parents from England, he bought 100 hectares of land, and these 400 hectares. Yeah, all that mounted behind is all part of the house. So it's all the area you see around here. It's still part of the house. 6 hectares of planted grape, that's all we have. The rest is forest. It's all bosque.
Okay.
Yeah. So in any case, so my dad bought this house with 4 houses, 4 derelict houses, and then slowly built it up, and in a way, we all see now that my dad was a visionary. He was like, he projected, now he lives here, he's 84, and he drinks his wine with his name on it. Guy is, pretty clever. So his 3 sons are involved in the project. Luca, my younger brother, is the winemaker. David, who's my middle brother, he's like sort of our administrator, and I'm like general, do this and do that, commercial, work in the cellar, do the viticulture, pruning stuff, mixture, and I'm a musician, so I do my stuff as well. So we're all like mixing it all up. So it's a real family project, and it's basically going to stay like that. It's basically because we are sustainable enough that we just use our own grape. When we don't want to make wine, like this year, 2024, we decided not to make wine. We didn't make wine. We sold the grape to our neighbor, Sara Perez.
Okay.
Sold our grape, and then of course Luca, didn't have to come over here with his family, so he's coming here this year. So we'll do 25. We've got a lot of stock of wine. Our wines are sort of long-term wines. They're long-aged wines, so there's no particularly hurry to sell. But I mean, it's interesting that we move it, obviously, but the thing is, we can take our time and make decisions like suddenly, okay, let's not make wine this year. And also, it was a difficult year. I mean, it's been hard all around for the last 3 years. So this is actually amazing. This is
amazing.
like now. This in March. This is the perfect moment. This is what we haven't had for 3 years. You know, so hopefully now we have to worry about other things like all the bacteria, fungos, and all that shit, mildew, which we did get in 220. So.